Welcome to the place where we take your music, we listen to it, and we hang out. HappyDaze Entertainment. AcidXHappy.
Everything's on the podcast.
Is that Kenny over there?
Don't forget to follow HypeAf promotions inside the Berserker.
Roll a little blunt, light it up, put it in rotation. We don't give a fuck.
We getting hype as fuck.
We just wanna have some fun. Take a little drink, smoke some fucking weed. Take a little seat, sit back and enjoy happy days with me.
Yo, you heard? Don't forget the weed. What's up, guys? It is your favorite host. I'm just kidding. I'm not the favorite. There's probably like a billion other hosts that you could pick from to be your favorite. Today on HappyDaze Entertainment, we have an awesome interview that we are going to go into. But before we start that awesome interview, I'm going to introduce my co-host for this episode. What the heck is up, MadWack Jackson? How are we today?
What up, guys? It was a chilly morning, but it's starting to heat up, so we're ready to bring the fire. Oh no, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, we are good to go.
I said it was a little chilly, but we're ready to go now. It's warming up, so let's bring the heat.
All right. So, speaking of heat, we do have some heat backstage. You know what I mean? An awesome fucking guest with some fire music.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, do you think we should introduce him to our audience today?
You know, I don't think this guy needs much of an introduction, but we can try. So, HappyDaze crew, are you guys ready to meet, if you don't already know, Mr. Cap ThaWiseGuy?
What up, what up, what up?
What up, homie?
What is
MadWack,
that?
salute. Appreciate y'all having me on. Happy to be here. How we doing today?
I am
Oh
good.
yeah,
How
I've
are you
known about
today?
you for a
How's the
long
weather?
time, and I don't really know much about you, so I'm pretty excited to do this interview myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we've been friends for quite some time, but we never really crossed paths like that. Just Facebook friends and all that. So it'd be dope to get to learn about you as well, and also Acid and what she brings to the table because she is active, man. She is always posting, always going live, always hooking people up, man. It's major salute for the underground.
I that's my passion. That's what HappyDaze is. It's not just me though. I can't take all the credit. You got, MadWack. You've got the people in the background right now that are helping us with tech. It's a team process, but we do it because all of us are artists and we love the opportunities that we get to give other people, as well as like to push other people to be creative and to, dig into their talents and learn about themselves, as well as network and building a network.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how you use the term artist, not to box people in as like a rapper or something specific, but more just as art as a whole, because that's what we try to create. That's what we try to bring to the table. At least I know I for sure do, and most people on here do. So, it's our expression. It's what we about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very important for everybody to have that expressive outlet, no matter what it is, whether it's music, tattoos, painting. Everybody's got their own outlets.
Facts. It's therapy.
It is. It is. So, starting first, I do want to ask, like, what is your stage name? Like, is it Cap ThaWiseGuy?
It is. I do go by Cap ThaWiseGuy. I'm 100% Italian. I grew up in Jersey. My first name is Anthony. There's 9 million Anthonys, so everybody got called by their last name, and eventually that the first three letters of my last name was Cap, so it just got cut down to that. And then
Okay.
later on kind of added the wise guy moniker to it just because as I got older, I got a little smarter, but I'm also a smart ass at the same time. And then, the whole Italian ties, the wise guy thing, forget about it. So, had to keep it 100.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah.
So are you still currently from Jersey? Is that what I heard?
So originally, yeah, I was born and raised up in Jersey. I'm actually in Texas now, just outside San Antonio. So I relocated with the family about a decade ago now. It's fucking time flies, damn. But yeah, I've been out here now. But my music styling, my roots, it all definitely screams Jersey. It screams East Coast. So
And
How long?
so,
Oh, go ahead.
how old are you, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us?
yeah, I'm 41 years young, believe it or not. I know I don't look a day over 20, but nah, I'm more a veteran in the game. I definitely do this more for the love of it. When I was in my younger days, I chased it a little harder, and then I kind of took a hike. I had to get my family right. I was born with dad life, and then as I finished having kids and got more settled down, I picked that pen back up. I mean, I always still wrote and stuff. For about 10 years, believe it or not, I literally didn't record a track or like really sit down and finalize something because I didn't want to tease myself knowing I wasn't gonna do it or do anything with it. So I would just put ideas. I always freestyle over the stuff, but 41, believe it or not.
Okay. Well, as a with it being said, you definitely don't look a day over fucking 20.
Right.
Definitely. And that's not a bad thing.
Nah, not at all.
Not at all.
When you're younger, you want to look older, right? You want to look grown. You want to look like you can buy some alcohol. Nobody's gonna ask you for ID type shit or buy cigarettes, whatever it is. Then as you get older, you're just like, man, it's a blessing to have that baby face, so to speak, or to have that younger look to me. So
I see. I see. All right. So here's some music aim questions I'm gonna start with.
yeah.
How long have you been making music for, like in totality?
So on and off, I guess technically about 20 years. I mean, when does music really start being created is the question because like I always wrote poetry and then poetry kind of turned into more rhythmic poetry and then that turned to music. As far as like actually recording music, it's probably been about 20 years long. But like I said, I took about a 10-year break in between. So I guess 10 years of actually recording, maybe a little longer, but 20 years that I've been involved with it.
Okay, I see. I see. What is the thing that got you started with music?
Really just like I said, I mean, I used to write poetry and stuff. I kind of had a tough childhood. So poetry was kind of like my escape. My father was into music. So I used to like play the drums and shit and, go out in the garage, say, and just jam out to like some Green Day or some Nirvana or whatever and just kind of put the headphones on, listen to it and try to play it. And then, you just started writing like my own poetry and stuff, and then I just started trying to do it to the beat. Just trying to make it more, like I said, more rhythmic, more melodic. Um, and that was kind of like my escape. That was like my getaway, my peace moment. Like I would just go, I had like this, like these woods by my house, for example. I would just go camp out in the woods and just kind of nature it up and just zone out and just kind of write and just express that way. And then, hip hop boomed and all that, and then you get to like school and you get a little older, and then you go to parties and people is getting drunk and freestyling and being stupid, and you just kind of join in, and then next thing you know, people are like, "Oh, you got some talent! Like you could actually flow, you could actually do stuff," and then you just start kind of trying it a little more and more, kind of for
Heck
yourself,
yeah.
but then kind of not. You get in the shower, you start going off because nobody's there. Whenever you're in the shower, it's like your own private studio, no matter who you is. Whether you
And the
singing somebody
acoustics
else's
there are
music or you
fire.
oh, it's beautiful. Like you can't get those type of effects on Pro Tools or whatever. Like it is
No,
it
you
is gorgeous.
cannot.
And you always sound great when you singing. Like you sound in key, you sound on point. Everything is harmonic. Like it's gorgeous. And then other people here and they don't always agree, but they don't understand. It's just that's your world right there. But yeah, and
Oh,
then just kept trying, kept growing, and then one thing led to the other.
heck yeah, that's awesome.
So, who are some of your musical, or I guess, inspirations overall that you look up to in music?
Um, wow, there's so many. The first one that I really fell in love with, I guess, would be Tupac. Man, Tupac, the emotion, the power, the emphasis, the passion in his music is just bar none. Like there's no one else to me that's ever really encapsulated like all of that. Like he could rap about anything and contradict himself, but it was just authentic. It wasn't like him being fake. It was more just like him playing off his emotions and his moods and being like, don't call women hoes, but then if women gonna act like hoes, that's what we're gonna call them. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was just, but did it in such a way that was it was creative and it was authentic. And then
Mm-hmm.
Eminem obviously being white opened up a lot of doors, made it a lot cooler, so to speak. I mean, there's no denying that. Like just Eminem's emergence and acceptance was kind of just like, oh well, this is more something that we could do now. Of course, who's the first person you always compare to whenever you step into a cipher or something like, oh, here come this white boy, what's up? Oh, look, another little Eminem. So you kind of just learn to roll with it. Like it's not an insult, it's cool. Like you know what I mean? So those would be two big ones. My goat always was is Andre 3000 from Outkast. I'm enamored by him. I mean, pause, I guess, but his ability to just be him, he never sounds like he's trying. He just sounds like he's just being natural. That's what's so amazing to me about him as an artist. Like he puts his own twist on things. He puts his own, spin on it, but in a way that's just real. Like he doesn't play the cliches. He's like, this is who I am. I don't care if you like it or not. I gotta be true to me. So he's a big one. There's a couple others for sure, but those three would probably be the three biggest, I would say, at least in the hip hop realm. I listen to a lot of different music too. Um, from Michael Jackson, Prince, Phil Collins, Stevie Wonder. I grew up on a lot of Motown stuff. Like I said, my father was a musician. He played a lot of covers. So I've experienced and heard a lot of different music that I don't even recognize until it's played. I'm like, oh, I know this song. I don't even know who sings it, but my dad used to play it or something like that. So, I've just kind of always grown up around it.
Heck yeah, that's freaking awesome. So, regarding that, did you ever have the opportunity to like make music with your dad or other family members, so to speak, or was it just solely something that you decided to do after watching your dad do it as a kid?
So like I said, my father was not very. He was involved, but he wasn't involved. He left when I was about
Right.
11 or so. So I never really
Okay.
had a chance to work with him. Very talented musician, very very talented individual. Not a great parent by any stretch, but a good guy, I guess we would say. And he would just hear a song and play. Like he didn't know how to read music or write music, so to speak, but he can hear some shit off the radio, play it back right on the guitar like nothing. And
Oh, that's awesome.
so he got he had major gifts with that, and then so I never really had a chance to work with him, and I think we just lost Acid. But but yeah, plus hip hop's not exactly the old man realm, at least at that time growing up, so it was a little different. But,
So, kind of on the same kind of frame of question, who have you got the opportunity to work with musically? Like, let's hear about some of these bomb ass features you've had
so
I don't know, the word escapes me. Who have you worked with?
I've worked with a lot of different artists and different producers. I mean, I always want to shout out producers too, because producers they're just as much artists as we are. Like they provide us with a canvas, right? So we can go and paint some pictures, but they're the ones that kind of like give us the paint and the brush and just say, here, go create. You know. So I've worked with a lot of different producers over the years. My right hand man Sticks from the UK. Shout out to him. RC tuned in, real dope dude that I linked up with. I got my guy Elo out in Cali that I worked with a lot. Um, CZ Wonder over from the East Coast, amazing with the samples, real soulful with his music. And then as far as artists go, I mean, I've been in groups, obviously coming up. When you first start out, especially, you tend to work with people, it seems, because you always try to find like-minded people, people that are kind of just as passionate as you are. So I've had groups in different labels, I guess you would say. I had PCP Moneymakers back in the day. It was probably my first big one. And we had a group called C4, which is four of us, real lyrical artists. That was real dope. Had a little success with it. And then, of course, we fell out. I've had different labels that I've started up. We had A Game Records, we had CPR Records, um, all kind of fell through. But really just, more recently, I've worked with guys like Messy the Man, real dope artist over there out of Connecticut. Worked with him a lot. Him and I are actually working on an EP. I got a guy, Messiah, that I'm working with. He's actually from, I'm probably going to fuck this up. It's Norway or Sweden, but speaks full English, raps in English, real dope, real authentic, like hip hop, like that European hip hop, where it's like just real, more poetic, more authentic type music, real creative, real poetic. At the lack of sounding redundant, more so than what they call hip hop here, that is more business oriented. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but hip hop's more culture. It's more. There's my guy Sticks chiming in and saying Norway because he knows I always forget. I'm gonna hear about that later. But whatchamacallit? But I lost my whole train of thought. Damn. But nah, music here is more, hip hop's more supposed to be about the culture, right? So, it was graffiti, it was breaking, it was DJ scratching and spinning, and then of course it was the MCing. And we've kind of stemmed away from that, where rap is just kind of taking over mainstream and all that. And again, it's just comes with the times, right? Like all music. It starts this and it starts genuine, and then you start to make some money off it, and things change. And it's just a circle of life. It's not a knock on anything. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just kind of how it is. So I try to stay more true to the roots, to the epitome of hip hop. I'm no, Christ or anything like that by any stretch, but I try to keep it real, because that's what I grew up on, and that's what helped me through a lot of times. That's what helped me kind of cope with life a little better. Hearing other people have problems and struggles that you might not necessarily relate to. Like I said, I grew up pretty tough. My father was abusive, broken family, but I grew up in a real white kind of, not upper class, but definitely middle class neighborhood where most people didn't have problems. Like kids were complaining, "Oh, I got a new car when I got my driver's license, but it's a Honda Civic and it's crap." And I'm over here taking the bus or rollerblading everywhere, walking my ass off in the snow and a blizzard and shit to go to a job. And dudes don't even have to work, and they don't. It's hard to relate to that, like in hip hop to me was kind of that bind where it opened my eyes to a lot of things that let me realize I wasn't the only one. I wasn't the guy experiencing this alone, even though I might not be able to necessarily go have a conversation with Tupac or Eminem, like I said, but it feels like through their music, like you literally know them. Like if I met them in person, I could feel like I could talk about old times and shit we did together, even though we didn't do it together, because it's just how it was. Like music can take you to places. It's such a powerful thing.
Absolutely, 100%. I gotta pull these questions up one more time. My bad.
Are you good?
That's all locked. I can do that.
I guess I'll keep hammering you with questions then. So if you had the opportunity to work with anyone, and I mean anyone, dead or alive, who would you want to work with? Even if it's not music.
Man. Again, Andre 3000 is the first person that comes to my mind. I feel like you would just make something so authentic, so creative, so out of left field, but it would still like even when he did his flute album, it was like, man, this is corny, this is crappy, there's no lyrics, there's no that, but I still want to listen, just because it's still just, you could feel like his energy, his emotion. Realistically, people that I would love to work with, just the whole creation process, just to go into a studio with another artist. It doesn't even have to be somebody famous, because famous, nothing taken away, not to say that talent is all equal, but for the most part, the people that we know as far as celebrities go are not necessarily more talented than, say, people like us. Maybe they have a better way for people to relate to their creations or relate to their expression, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're more able or more capable. So, I mean, just working with anybody, to me, that's the best way to grow and advance because, say, MadWack, say you and I go in the studio and we do a track together. You're spitballing ideas. I'm spitballing ideas. Somebody plays a beat. I don't know if you produce or not, but let's say it's one of your beats or it's somebody that gave you a beat. You hear it one way. I hear it another way. I explain how I hear it. You explain how you hear it. It opens my eyes and ears to something different that I might not necessarily thought of. I open your eyes and ears to something you might not have thought of. Boom, you write a verse or a hook to it. Now I'm trying to mold a verse around what you wrote to kind of encapsulate my viewpoint or my understanding of what you expressed and vice versa. Like it's just such a growth potential. Like, to me, music talks so much more than themselves. Like it's just next to probably God is the most powerful thing on this earth. Like it's something that when it can put you in a mood. There's certain music I can't listen to at work because I might swing on somebody. And there's other music, say, I can't listen to at work because I might knock out or fall asleep. There's other music I can't listen to at work because I might get depressed and have to go in the back and like really clear my mind right quick. There's just certain things that music can do that other things can't. And you can look at a picture sometimes, a picture's worth 1,000 words and it can put you in a place you could zone out to it. But music is just such a different beast. It's such a different element that really cannot be replicated. And, so to say there's like a artist, to go back to your question, to say there's somebody like I would love to work with, it's hard to pinpoint a person because any artist, anybody that's just bringing ideas to the table can just help you as an individual grow, open your eyes to certain things you might not have recognized and help you empathize and just relate to things and then find parts of you that you want to express that you didn't even know were there.
So for you, I think it's safe to say that you absolutely, you just enjoy the creation process. Is that right?
I have so much music I haven't released, and thank God music does not have an expiration date that I know about heart and I listen to religiously. And I'm like, I need to put this out. But it's just like you said, it's the creation of it and it's going back to it and it could put you in a mood. It can put you in a time. It can take you to a place that you didn't know existed. It can take you back to a place that you've already lived through. So it's just, yeah, I mean, the creation is the beauty of it to me, like you get the final product and it's not to say the final product isn't great, but the final product, you don't see the blood, sweat and tears that was poured into it. You don't see that whole build up to it, the inspiration behind it, and sometimes you get to talk to an artist or relate to an artist or interact, sometimes artists will put out things, maybe explaining it, maybe whether it's through social, just going live, saying what they thought of for this track, or maybe it's just people, doing like back in the day we used to write the lyrics on the inside of the CD covers and this and that, and maybe shout out people or explain things, but usually you don't get the whole story with it. You kind of just get that title page. You kind of just get that final chapter. You don't get the whole plot, the rises and the falls and the buildups the same way you do when you're the artist behind the scenes creating it. And the drama that goes with it, let me tell you. Because, I mean, and it's tough sometimes because you're like, man, I love this shit. This came out fire. And you're like, let me know what you think. And people be like, I don't feel it. And then there's some other shit you create. You'd be like, man, I don't know what you think of this. I think it's missing something, this and that. And they're like, yo, this was perfect. This was money, da-da-da. And you're just like, all right, cool. Because at the end of the day, when you put it out, it's for you. And yes, it's your expression. But at the end of the day, when you make it public, it's no longer for you. It's for everybody else. And it's not to take away from you or diminish what you did to create it. But really at that point, that's why it's hard to call people a sellout or things like that, because there's so many hands involved. Say for someone like Eminem, when he puts out music, like it has to get cleared. Now, not so much as he's older, but when he was younger, say he has to get it cleared by the label for it to be accepted and put out and then pushed and then marketed. It has to be relatable. There's probably tons of stuff that say Eminem has created where it's really more first person, really more direct to him, that he's kind of had to broaden. Like he has a song like Kim where he's trying to kill his wife. That when he probably first wrote that shit, it probably wasn't something so much that like people could hear and be like, oh yeah, my wife pisses me off too type shit, and more like him literally going on a fucking murder rampage, killing his wife, more specific first person to him. But when you go to make that public, you have to adapt it, you have to alter it and put it to where, it becomes something that doesn't just sound like oh, is this guy just telling me a story about his own personal experience that has nothing to do with me and nothing that's pulling me in. So it's just like I said. I mean, again, beating a dead horse, but like music is just such its own beast. It's just such its own thing.
Yeah, and
100%.
that's a perfect example that you just used. That song right there about him and his wife. Like that's you gotta kind of. I don't think many people think that far ahead, and that's something that you gotta keep in mind if you were gonna be an artist. That you know, and I like the way you said it. You make the music for you, but if you are going to make it public at that point, it kind of no longer is just you anymore. You invited everyone in a sense. So you shared that and you invited everyone to come in and have that part of you if that's what you were putting out there. So you got to be conscious of what you're doing at all times and who it could reach and all that shit.
Oh, absolutely. So, do you have a specific song that you want us to start with today?
You know, again, people will tell you like I like this song best, I like that song best, but as an artist, depending on the mood I'm in, maybe all my music's kind of the same. That's how I feel, because like I said, every song tells its own story. No one story is greater than the other, in my opinion. But I mean, when I guarantee you, there's songs I put out that people are like, yeah, all right, I see you doing your thing, I guess. Da 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 da. And there's other stuff I've probably put out that people are like, yo, this is my shit. I need to play this back. I need to hear this over and over. So again, it depends on the mood you're in when you hear it. It depends on the time of day you hear it, and it depends on just I mean, everything around you. Like there's so much that goes with it. So I'm cool with any one of them that I sent you. You know,
All right.
dealer's choice, as they say.
Well, that's up to our tech then. Whatever our tech decides to play, that's what we're going to play. They're getting that ready for us right now. And as soon as that's done, they're going to take us off screen and they're going to play the video for us. So it's going to be great.
While we're waiting for that to come up, I want to do a quick little reminder to all the viewers to go ahead and drop any questions. If you have any questions for our guests as well, because we'll make sure to read those off too. So go ahead and drop those questions.
Absolutely. And thank you guys also for coming out and watching.
Shouts out to everybody that tuned in, man. Much love and appreciation. Thank you.
Yo, I ain't LL, but you could still call it a comeback. I'm cool with it, sticking to my boards like a thumbtack. Undoing it, back home, ready to unpack. Trying to make it in this world with my word in my nutsack. And I won't break him for any hate, there is plenty. I'm still driving, you could call me John Henry. Never thought it could happen till I actually did it. Not trying to get rich, all I ask is you listen and relate to it, instead of just hate to it. Gotta shoot for your love, just like my name Cupid. I make music, that's the art that I choose. For the kid translucent, I see things through. No need to black it out, feed in, no backing out. These mics is getting where I'm laying to smack it down. Watch them eyebrows raise the second I'm back in town. Call this my homecoming season, no slacking now. Every time I try to go, something keeps pulling me back. I ain't chingy, but music is my thingy. I gotta be who I am till the day that I die. Right on my feet where I stand until the day that I fly. Let them keys open doors, the party is just beginning. Struck out in the past, but the team is still winning. Look out for my brothers, all love when we vibe. That's the quest for the tribe, you better step to the side. We marching through like a parade as I float on the beat. Thought things were looking up, that's when I showed you the feet. This ain't no competition, bro, don't be confused by the beat. If you really come at my head, I wouldn't lose any sleep. Too many sheep for me to count. You doubt, it just gasses me. The speaker scream it out. This bout ends in catastrophe. It's cap but not cap, CAP. I speak factually, I stay holding it down. My last name should be Gravity. Let the paper wait, ain't waiting on no paper. Stay home and meditate, never waiting on no savior. It lives inside me, stay moving at high speed. Now the world's slowing down, why the fuck would I leave? Every time I try to go, something keeps pulling me back. I ain't chingy, but music is my thingy. I gotta be who I am till the day that I die. Right on my feet where I stand until the day that I fly.
That was fucking awesome. I am super impressed with that, and I just want to say
Thank you.
that you did so good, and the video is work is very impressive as well.
Yeah, I got to give a huge shout out to my guy Sean G. He he's some dude I met through fantasy football, believe it or not. And then one thing led to another, and he was telling me he used to do videos. He's worked with some pretty big artists. I don't want to put his business out there like that. He's kind of more behind the scenes, but he was like, man, I don't do it no more. He's got other ventures that he's into, but we just click, friends of friends and stuff like that. So we hit it off real fast. And he was like, man, for you, I'll do a video. I haven't done one in a while anyways. Like I was itching. And I ain't going to lie. Like I mean, not the insult him by saying I didn't have high expectations, but when I saw it, I was like, this looks like a literal professional production done. Like I'm still shocked at how great it came out, how crisp it looks, how clean it looks. And he just did off the strength. So I mean, really, really shouts out to him. As much as I could take the credit for the lyrics and the song itself, the whole visuals of it was all him. Just again, man, super big shout out to him.
That's badass. Fuck yeah.
And spoiler, we're doing another one in 2 weeks. So
Oh shoot.
yeah, we got something. We just set up some new music I just recorded, and we're actually taking a road trip, and we're gonna be doing a video on the trip. We got something cool coming. I'll just leave it at that.
Heck yeah. So we do have a comment question from Ty the Berserker. He says, if you had to give someone in the industry who is just starting out their career some advice, what would it be?
The easiest, simplest thing I can say, and it's one of the hardest lessons to learn: do what feels natural. Because when you're an artist, you're putting on a persona. Let's be real. In a weird way, we're all kind of actors, right? We're all trying to portray something, not necessarily in a fake way, but we're only trying to show you one aspect of us, right? We're not trying to show you the whole realm. Like you don't see the me and the kids and my 9 to 5 and dealing with my wife and things like that. You kind of just see the artist of me. So you have to find a way to be true to yourself, but also natural. And that's one of the hardest things to find. It's easier said than done, but you have to find a way to do what's natural to you, because when it comes down to it, that's what's going to come out. When push comes to shove and your back's to the wall and instinct just takes over, that's what's going to take over. So if you're not being authentic, if you're not being real, it's going to show quick, because there's going to be a
Right.
time where someone catches you with cameras on and you don't even realize we're rolling, especially in this world, the way everything is now. You
Oh
can't
yeah.
go nowhere. I mean, everything is everything. Like, it's 24/7 surveillance. It's like that movie Enemy of the State with Will Smith, but real life. So as they're now probably listening to this conversation. But nah, like you have to be for real. You have to do what sounds natural, even if you might think it's cheesy, even if you might think it's corny. Don't be afraid. Like that's what people are going to relate to. It's an energy, it's a vibe, it's authentic. Like they're going to connect to that, and that's to me kind of my resurgence with music is really tapped in. Like with this last album, I kind of just went back to look, I'm not trying to chase something anymore. I'm not trying to do something anymore. I'm kind of just more opening up the book for everybody to see, or opening up the lens for everybody to see a little more, and just stop overthinking it. Stop trying to rewrite shit, or, oh, how's this going to come off when people hear it? Just let people hear it. Let them decide how it comes off. Don't try to decide for them.
Oh, absolutely. So mine went out the gutter. My bad.
Are you good?
Do you have any like specific like styles or genres of music that you prefer to work in, or are you open-minded to working in other aspects and genres of music?
I'm completely open to anything. Hip hop's more the realm that I stay in. It's more, I guess, what's natural to me because, like I said, I'm more poetic, or at least I feel like I am.
Okay.
So that's more tied to that. I've actually tried some spoken word stuff that I've recorded and haven't put out yet. Um, Waiting on someone to kind of do a little bit of a background instrumental for it, just so it's not empty, open word, so to speak. Give it a little
Okay.
life to it. But that's more where I am. But you know, I personally think crossovers are like some of the most beautiful music you'll ever hear. Like like I like contrast, right? Like I don't like wearing dark colors with dark colors. I like light with dark because it makes that dark look darker. It makes that light pop lighter at the same time to
It
just
does.
balance, so to speak. So like when you hear say remixes and you hear BB, it's not that far fetched. Sometimes you get a rapper on, rock element, heavy guitar that's similar. I didn't know this
What?
existed until I heard it.
So I am curious to know what is one of your favorite songs that you have created.
That I have created. Man, that's a tough question. The one you just heard is definitely one of my favorites. Pulling me back. That was the first song I wrote for my recent project. There's a song on that project called Reflection, and it's about my daughter being born, and just my kind of reaction to it. You know, um, like whenever I look at her, it's like I'm looking at me. It's like a little me. It's a little reflection of who I am growing. Of course, me and my wife combined, obviously, but and just talking about like the emotion of it and just overcome with that type of joy or that type of emotion. Like you can't even put it into words. I know you guys are a little younger. My apologies if I'm assuming, and if I don't know if you have children of your own, but like that first time you hold your child and you look at your child and you're like, I did that. Not in like a braggadocious slick way, just like in a life hitting you way, just like I did that. My life now has another purpose, or at least a purpose. I have something to live for. I have something to strive for. And I'm a father of three now. Um, so the first verse I wrote probably about 4 years ago or so, and it was really just that emotion from that time. Like I could still see it like yesterday that my daughter was born, and just being in the hospital and just holding her that first time and looking into her eyes and like seeing how it is. And then my second child, it's more like my first child is like me. Like she is so me, her attitude, her demeanor, everything. My middle child is my wife. She still looks a lot like me, but her attitude, her mood swings, she's like my wife. So it's like dealing with a little her growing up, whereas my wife's dealing like with a little me growing up. So like before we knew each other, what our life was like, and now it's like I wish I knew you when you were young, and then you meet our kids, and you're like, damn, I'm glad I didn't have to live with you when you were young. But just seeing that, and then so to me, like that, it's more recent. Maybe I have a little recency bias, but that's one of the songs that I really like, will never grow stale to me. Every time I hear it, it's like it just takes me to that place. It takes me back to that time when I first got to see them and first got to experience them. Um,
Mm.
now I got to do something for my son because he kind of got left out of that one just because it was two verses and the way it was. But I got some stuff in the works for that. But yeah,
Aw,
probably that one.
That's beautiful. That's
Thank you.
that
beautiful.
is.
So I have the same question, but what is your favorite song to do live?
To do live, again, probably pulling me back. I actually have a show tonight here in San Antonio. I don't know how many of these people are local or not, but if you can come out, Diamond Ultra Lounge on Evers Road. But I'll actually be performing the two songs we just talked about, "Pulling Me Back," which is the one you just saw in the video, and then that song "Reflection" I just spoke upon. Um, Back in the day, I had a song called "Fuck 'Em" that was a lot of fun to perform. Back before the whole digital world, back when everything was like selling mixtapes out of the trunk of your car, carrying around milk crates full of jewel CD cases and your album, and you had to press it and try to sit there and sell it and play it live and spit it. It was kind of like a fuck the haters type song. Like I'm gonna make it regardless. Got to stay hustling. This here's where my heart is. So that's how the hook went. And then so that one was really fun. It was a lot of energy, a lot of love when you performed it because it was something a lot of artists could relate to. Like everybody's always trying to tell you you can't do it. I don't know what it is. It's funny you get more love from strangers than you do your own people. I don't know if it's like a jealousy, like, oh, look at this guy doing something. Sometimes it's just you're too close to people and they can't, they know maybe they know too much of you, so to speak, to kind of just see this one aspect only of you. Or maybe it's just they don't picture you that way. Whatever the case, it's unique. It can be difficult at time, and then again the connotation that goes with it, like, oh yeah, you're a musician, oh cool, yeah, that's great. Yeah. If you were great, I'd know about you already, yada 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 type deal. Like, I don't know what it is, if it's shade or if it's not, but it's just how it is. And I guarantee you, every artist who's ever put anything out for people to hear probably can easily agree. Like, some of the most closest people to you are the hardest ones that you even get to listen.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, whereas people you never met, like a lot of the people I just named, for example, the producers I work with, I've never met any of them in person. I would love to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to avoid them. It's just the way we linked up, the way we connected. I feel like I know them. I literally feel like I could see them at the airport and recognize them, even though I don't even know what their face looks like on some of them. But at the same time, it's just how it is. So, that to me, that song, the energy with it was something that everybody could kind of relate to. And I used to get a lot of love off of that.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
Well, shit, you just covered so much of what it's like to be in the music industry.
Yeah, I've seen a lot, believe it or not.
You're the best person to have on an interview, man. We didn't even have to ask you the questions. You're just like, bam, let me tell you what it is.
I'm feeling like I'm long-winded too. I'm like, shit, should I wrap it up? Am I going too far? But yeah.
No, it makes for good banter. Actually, you're very good at talking and explaining yourself in those ways. Where are we question wise? All right. So I'm gonna ask you the exact same questions that MadWack asked, but I'm gonna ask them in the opposite way. What is your least
Okay.
favorite song that you've done?
Probably some of my early stuff when I was more trying to be quote unquote down. I still go back and listen to it, and I kind of laugh at it at times, trying to come off like I was more hood than I was, I guess. Like, I grew up around a lot of things, but I wasn't necessarily in the middle of those things. I was around people that might have been in the middle of it, so I was kind of telling their story at times. And it's not to say any of it was quote unquote fake, but not a lot of it was first person, if that makes sense.
Right.
So probably some stuff with that. And then there, you go through a phase where you just claim to be tougher than you are, and you're not afraid of nobody and all that tough macho street shit. So probably that. Probably music that people will never ever hear. That's in my archives. That language and word usages back when I used to have my ghetto pass and drop in, slurs and things I probably shouldn't really be saying, that I look back on now and kind of be like, man, I get it because I was there and I know what I was thinking at the time. But going back and listening to it now, the fuck was I thinking at that time? So
Right. I get it. What is your least favorite song to perform?
I don't know if I have one, because with performances you kind of handpick, and we're not doing like long, say 60-minute type concerts, so to speak, at this stage. We're doing more like 2-3 tracks, so you get to be real selective as far as what you want to play. I did a show, for example, this past week. It was supposed to be 2 tracks, but they also give you a time limit. And me, I came a little more from the older school where it's like people get bored, so you try to switch it up. So I ended up doing 4 songs, but only a verse and a hook from each song. So it was like 2 full songs all in all. But it didn't go over as well because everybody was like, they don't recognize as the crowd. They're vibing, they're joining, but they're not like, oh, that's only 1 verse, so he only did half a song. They hear it as like, oh, the beat change, that's another song. The beat change, that's another song. How the fuck's he doing 4 songs? So it's more like the set or the experience than it is a specific song. So definitely, again, you got to learn from everything. You're not going to make every shot you take, right? And you're definitely not going to make every first shot you take. So the importance is not the mistakes you make, it's just the mistakes you repeat. So to me, I don't like to look at things as good or bad, just like influences. I don't like to look at artists as good influencers or bad influences. I might have learned something that they did and see what they did wrong and learn from it. Whereas I might look at something that somebody did that's good and be like, okay, how can I kind of incorporate that into me? So, it's hard to say a specific song, but it's more just like, again, you go to a show, you don't really know the crowd till you're there too. So one thing I've thought about doing is kind of making different mixes and then deciding based on the crowd, based on the show, like, okay, I should go with this one. The way everybody's vibing, the kind of mood they're in, the kind of other music that's being played that people are relating to, I should be more more real life Cap and less happy Cap or whatever you want to term it, you know, that type of setup. So
Okay, I see. That makes
I
sense.
have a follow-up question to that. So
yeah.
do you make or decide your sets, I guess, at the show before you perform? So
No,
that
it's
you
something
can get that kind of feel of the crowd, or
it's something
I
I've
get
thought about doing more recently. I haven't actually tried executing it yet. And a lot
Okay.
of times these DJs want their sets before the show, you know, days before at that. So I've thought about maybe sending them multiple mixes and just being like, play number one or play number two, you know, because to them it's just Cap the Wise Guy number one, Cap the Wise Guy number two. Like they don't care what the name of the songs are and shit like that. That's for you on stage to introduce and decide. So I've thought about maybe doing something like that and being like, hey, we're gonna go with this one. You'll have them in your library, you'll have them ready to go, and they won't go over time limit or break the quote unquote rules of the setup. But I gave you options and I'll let you know, right away. And you're not gonna be confused. You're not gonna be up there looking. You just be like, hey, it's this one or this one. We're going with this one.
Okay. That definitely makes
it's a good tip
sense.
to play to your crowd. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't do that either. They just go and play.
Because remember, at the end of the day, as much as we want to act like we're big celebrity stars, let's be real. Nobody's coming out to see Cap ThaWiseGuy tonight like that. Nobody's like, oh, Cap ThaWiseGuy's playing, I'm going to go. Like, yeah, maybe the people I've directly sent flyers to and reached out to, sure. But the majority say that if there's 100 people in that building, 90% of them probably never heard of me in their life. And most of the ones who have heard of me, there are probably other artists who relate to you differently than, say, the casual fan does. And the other ones are people I already bought, or I firsthand bought that already know my music. So it's different. It's, you know, so you got to kind of feel it out. And then, of course, the later in the show you go, you have an advantage. If you're one of the first acts, you don't really have that luxury to see, like, okay, what kind of mood are they in? And then, of course, the more people are drinking and smoking and getting loose, the more your music sounds better and better, right? So that's why it's an advantage to go a little later, but also the energy you can put out can be felt stronger in the early going. So you got to look at it, you know, based on the lineup, based on the setup, and then based on just how the crowd's reacting and feeling.
Absolutely. We are at a little after the 45-minute mark. So it is time for a commercial break. If anyone has to use the restroom, take a cigarette break, whatever you got to do, that would be our time now. The video is approximately 5 minutes long, and I'm going to take us off the screen while we play that. Are we ready?
Let's go.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the HappyDaze Interlude. Thank you for stopping in, and let's get to the smoke session. Bongs out, bowls out, roll it up, let's get to smoking.
This one's for HappyDaze. Spark up.
Good morning, niggas. Shout out to HappyDaze, man. Shout out to HappyDaze. Y'all better be getting high with me and smoke 30.
What's good, y'all? GIW Static here. Shout out HappyDaze Entertainment. Let's go. Y'all know who it is already.
Shout out to HappyDaze Entertainment. Go check them out. Keep it real, keep it trill.
Yo, it's Callus Benson, aka Black Trash Garbage. Shout out to HappyDaze Entertainment. AcidXHappy dropped that album. I dropped the beat from my name, but I'm about it.
It's the one and only Slaughter Supercharger. I want to give a shout out today to my people at HappyDaze Entertainment. Tap in with them, follow, subscribe, like, whatever you gotta do. Tell them I sent you.
What's up, y'all? Some of you might know me, some of you might not. This is Savvy One here, Jay Davenport, host of Straight Savvy on live on YouTube and Facebook Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I want to give a shout out to HappyDaze for being awesome and supporting independent artists. I love y'all's podcast because y'all doing the same thing I am. I appreciate y'all's movement for the underground. We need more people like us, y'all. Lock in with these people. HappyDaze, y'all. Jay Straight Savvy. We're going to be guests on each other's shows here soon, so y'all tap in. You know, I might be located, I'm from Ohio, but reach goes worldwide. I look forward to seeing everybody. Definitely, again, say it again. Happy days, y'all. Again, appreciate y'all. Give y'all one more hit. Keep savvy, y'all.
Good morning, everybody. Acid, I'm sorry I'm late. I just want to give a huge shout out to HappyDaze Entertainment. Man, I appreciate y'all and thank y'all for having me. Let's have a great day, great weekend. Stay up, stay safe.
Motherfuckers, you're here with AcidXHappy and AK Keeling. And what the fuck are we watching?
HappyDaze Entertainment.
We watching the HappyDaze
What are you doing if
Entertainment.
you're not?
What are you doing if you're not?
What are you doing?
You're not living.
Tap in right now.
Tap in
Down
today.
below.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Today.
Today.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Saturday at
Saturday.
5:30 p.m.
5:35. 5.
Fucking HappyDaze
Explosions in the
Entertainment.
back.
Period. Bullets shedding.
What up, fools? Shout out HappyDaze.
Hey yo, it's Cap ThaWiseGuy, holding it down for Veresmo Ent. And right now you rocking with HappyDaze Entertainment, home of the dopest, illest, freshest that the underground has to offer. They be putting artists on like yours truly. That's why I fucks with them, and that's why I tune in. Matter of fact, you ain't even come to hear me talk. So enough of that. Let's get back to the show.
What's up, guys? We're back. And honestly, the end of that commercial was kind of some BS. If I'm being real with you.
For this one show.
So I
For
gotta
this
let you
one
know that
episode.
I don't know if you, I know you didn't time that out, but if you're on Mountain Standard Time, you just hit that commercial right in time for 4:20.
Oh, I did
on
not
the
know
dot.
that, but that's awesome.
Ironic.
That was freaking sweet. Heck yeah. So,
All right,
since we had a
I feel like
commercial
I
break,
ran all the questions this time, so get your butt in here and let's see what you got. What you want to know?
are you signed with a record label or do you have plans to build your own record label?
So we kind of got our own, I guess it would be considered a label. We call it more an entertainment group, Veresmo. It's with me and my guy Sticks Media Productions. We had bigger plans. Very long story short, we had bigger plans a while back. There was a third person involved and even kind of a team behind it. Everything kind of fell out, and it really set us back about a year at least, where we were kind of just in limbo, waiting to see what was going to happen, how it was going to happen. And then it kind of got to the point where, like, I guess this dude isn't following through. And then it got to the point where it's like we were kind of, for lack of a better term, depressed because we had these plans and we had talked about it. We had like a whole business model, I guess, for lack of a better term. And again, super long story short, it just didn't work out. So that's why I said I've been trying to get this podcast going for about almost 3 years now. We're very close finally to pulling it off on our end. There's been some procrastination. There's been some unfortunate happenings and occurrences. And then just, again, you strive off emotion, right? So even when you create music, it's emotion. Well, everyday life, So it's like, yeah, I'm just not in the mood to do stuff. Or I'm kind of disheartened by this because your hopes were high and you had these expectations. Everything in life's a relationship. It's not always necessarily, romantical. It's platonic a lot, but it's still relationships you build with people. So it takes a lot out of you, especially when you got like all these expectations and all these things in play, and then it's just like, hey, that year worth of shit that you guys planned out and we're gonna do, and you said starting in January is gonna happen. Guess what? Fuck you. It's not. Haha. So it's like, hey, here you are, just stuck. And but now we've gone kind of back to the drawing board. Him and I kind of started it off. We chose the name Veresmo, which was a literary movement back in the early 1900s or late 1800s that they stopped writing about like history. So if you look at older chronicles and annals or stories rather, they were more just like things that happened. Like Romeo and Juliet was a story about two people, or Cleopatra and Antony, or King Henry and all this. Like most people wrote about literal historical occurrences that happened. And the Verismo movement was a literary movement where they started writing about more real life shit, like the common man, not the king, not the royals, not the upper class, but more the middle class and the lower class and what they're experiencing and dealing with. And that's where we kind of try to keep our music aimed at, like, because we're not well off by any stretch. Not to say we're suffering or struggling, but we're not royalty, we're not presidential, we're not silver spoon rich kid, anything like that. We're more just authentic. We're just real. It's just everyday shit. So that's how we try to keep it.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. So, do you have a 5-year goal or plan set up for this entertainment label that you're building?
Well, my age, my 5-year plan is don't die. But nah.
That's a good one.
Nah, I mean, so it's hard to say. With everything in life, you want to set short-term goals, mid-term goals,
Right.
long-term goals, right? So the short-term goal is just kind of to make Verismo just make quality music, right? That's the goal day in, day out. Make quality art. So maybe it's working with these people. Maybe it's working just him and I. Maybe it's just me working with somebody else or him working with somebody separate. But whatever the case, it's just make authentic shit. Be there for whatever we need, and kind of just learn together as we grow.
Okay.
5 years goal would kind of just be like more of a, I guess by that point, be more of a household name, not necessarily mainstream. Although that would be lovely. Don't get me wrong, but that's not really what we're about. The obvious goal would be to live off your music, so you don't have to work that 9 to 5. You don't have to sit there and worry about making ends meet and doing things like that. Where you're at a point where your music or your entertainment can kind of carry you. That would be great, because then you could really lock in and just do nothing but create all day.
Right.
You don't have to do the other things, but at the same time, those other things kind of give you balance and make you more appreciative, and also give you views that you might not necessarily get if all you're doing is creating all day. So,
Right.
as they say.
I see. So, similar question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years regarding your music?
Hopefully not that different than I am now. More fans and more people giving me, feedback, whether good or bad, just relating to it, would really be what I strive for. Just more comfortable in my sound, I guess. More, but again, in 5 years, my sound might be completely different, and now because I'm in a different headspace than I might be. So,
Right.
Just staying true to myself, just continuing to create quality art, quality music that people want to hear, and just really building with people, connecting to people, bridging that gap, as they say, or just giving people something they want
Absolutely.
without compromising myself to do it, of course.
So far, what would you say has been one of the hardest obstacles you've had to overcome becoming an artist?
Time. By far the biggest. There's so many things I would love to do, want to do. Time and money. Everything costs money. So, like I said, I would love to do more shows. I would love to be more places, but it's like I got kids, I got a wife. I can't completely, like, when I took my hiatus for about 10 years, I said I had to get my home life right. So I was at a point where I had a recording studio. We had a whole label set up, CPR Records, me and my guy Prisoner. And we were literally, I was out of work. I was on unemployment. I was collecting. It was Obama time. So everything was like recession, and we were extended benefits and that. So I was getting decent money for free to do nothing. So I had time to kind of just really sit and create. But, the more I did, the more opportunities arose, and the more opportunities arose come a bigger price tags. So I was kind of extending myself a little farther, but more importantly, I was spending almost all of my time just creating and doing, and kind of neglected home life. And it got to the point where it was almost basically divorced, for lack of a better term. My wife and I, we've been together since 2000, believe it or not. We were high school sweethearts, I guess you would say. We went to different high schools, but we dated while we were in high school. So and been together ever since. Knock on wood, like I'm super blessed and lucky. So, but there was a point in time where it damn near ended, and the reason it was ended, and not to say it was all on me, because don't get me wrong, she played her part, but it was really that I was given this like 98% of my time, like 1% to my mom, 1% to her, like, and that's not fair to her. I can't lie. I can't sit here and deny that. Looking back on it now, so it was, where I kind of had to step away. But it's like, how do you turn it off? How do you step down? Like, how do you like, oh, I'm only going to go 40% instead of 90%? You know what I mean? As an artist, to me, it's like all or nothing. So I really had to go cold turkey, and it left me miserable for a while. I won't lie. I was able to fix that life, but then there was that other part of me that was lacking. And then I kind of started picking up other hobbies or other things that kind of distract me, collecting things, or I was, expressing myself in different ways, coming up with different stuff. Like I started building Legos again. I've always loved Legos. Call me a nerd, I don't care. Like just building, creating, and doing it. But it was just my way to kind of still create or do something, and kind of reliving a childhood I guess I didn't really get to have, and probably wasting money on things in the grand scheme. But that enjoyment you can't really put a price on. But finding things to kind of bridge that. And then, like I said, once I was done having kids, it was like, man, as much as things were like temporary or kind of held me over, it wasn't the same. Like music is its own thing. You can't cheat it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you want to play another song? Did we want to hear some more of your music?
Sure. What do the people want? It's up to them. I already heard all my music.
What's up, guys? Comment below if you think we should play another song. All we need is one yes, and we'll play it for you guys. And while we wait for somebody to say yes, I do have another question for you. Besides the inspirations or the artists that you had mentioned earlier, is there anything else or any other person in the industry, whether that's actors, whether that might be somebody that you look up to that has their own business, is there anybody else out there that might give you some of the inspiration that you carry around with you?
My mother, hands down. Like I said, we grew up kind of rough. When my father left, we basically lost everything. So again, super long story short, far from a great individual, father, family man, but he left us pretty much high and dry, as the saying goes. So we kind of had to move to like a different town. We kind of do this, and the way they were, my parents were my father was really old fashioned. My mother wasn't allowed to work, so she didn't have a source of income or anything like that. So now she had to provide for 2 kids on her own, pay a mortgage, feed us, clothe us, all that fun shit. And here I am complaining about I want McDonald's and this and that, not understanding because I'm a kid. So she ended up working 4 jobs, literally 4 jobs, all part-time, because she couldn't get a full-time job. She had no real work experience. She hadn't worked since before she had kids. So, it was tough. And just watching what she had to go through, watching what she had to experience, watching how she just refused to settle, refused to take government assistance. And that's not a knock at anybody who does. Refused to take handouts from people. And that's not a knock at anybody who does. It's just how she was. And even having her own family kind of turn negative towards her because she was an embarrassment because she's divorced and it's an insult to the family and this and that. And we don't believe in divorce, and it makes us look bad. And just what we went through and eating like fish sticks every fucking night for dinner, and you can only put so much ketchup on a fish stick to mask the taste of a fish stick. But that's what I lived off, crackers with peanut butter and jelly, like shit like that. Like it really, like, I grew up a lot faster than I wanted to, but at the same time, it made me so much of a better person and experienced me to so many things that I probably would have never known about or understood. So it was a blessing in a weird way. You know, looking back on it and having gone through it, it wasn't a blessing in the moment because it was tough. And that's what turned me to like the poetry and all that stuff. But looking back on it now, I'm like, man, I would have been one of these motherfuckers, or I would have been like this or like that. Had I not gone through these things, I would have never known what that was like. I would have just been like, oh, that's all propaganda, or oh, there's all people just being exaggerating and this and that. And it's allowed me to relate to so many people that I meet and come across, and they'll be like, you different. I'm like, I'm not different. I'm just unique. I'm just me. I'm just who I am. So, you know, my mother, hands down, is my biggest inspiration. Just seeing what she went through, to seeing where she ended up. And it gives me that drive every day to just never settle. Like, just find a way. Find a way. Always. There's a way out there. It isn't necessarily the way you might be looking at. Sometimes you got to turn. Sometimes you got to look back. Sometimes you got to look sideways, whatever it is. But there's another way. And you don't have to necessarily take what's in front of you.
Oh, absolutely. I've heard people say if there's a will, then there is a way.
Facts.
So keep that in mind for that. If our tech is ready, we are going to play another one of your songs. Regards to them in the back, picking whatever that may be. And while we, oh, never mind.
Sure. Hey, look. Welcome to the jungle. Lions and gorillas, snakes and alligators, predators and killers. All that. Don't you end up stuck here with us. Only way you make it is if the Lord with you. Better pray. You gonna have to hunt. Yes, sir. You gonna have to kill. That's a must. You gonna have to do some things that you ain't never did. Gonna have to. A lot of different type of shit just to make it out of here. That's that. Can you survive? Welcome to the jungle.
You gon' hear me roar, Katy Perry. Welcome to the jungle. Shit gets scary. Spider bites that paralyze. If you spit in a paralyze, hear the beauty when I speak. That all got you terrified. I'm like a jaguar, killing beats for sport. No bodies and I consort. Who judging me? This ain't court. Who budging me? Man, you short? You nudging me ain't gon' work. I've mastered you little jerks, trying to bait me like a lord. It's not so much your worst, it's simply that I'm better. I'm Mufasa and T'Challa, all mixed up together. A pantheon, roaming through the savannah, about to pounce on my prey, hawking over like Atlanta. I see you from afar, your game is subpar. Out here trying to take my wish like you were Jafar, but I'm the diamond in the rough. Solomon's mine to share. I don't need that lion's share, as long as my lion share.
Welcome to the jungle. Lions and gorillas, snakes and alligators, predators and killers. Don't you end up stuck here with us. Only way you make it is if the Lord with you. You gonna have to hunt. Yes, sir. You gonna have to kill. That's a must. You gonna have to do some things that you ain't never did. A lot of different type of shit just to make it out of here. Can you survive? Welcome to the jungle. Trap the real life Tarzan, half man, half gorilla. That's because I go ape shit when I swing through on these instrumentals. Way up high in the biggest treetop, beating all on my chest with it. I'm the best with it, no question, cause I always keep the best with me. You can guess what I meant, that ain't no flex. I'm just saying, bitch, we the best. I'm like Cali, except we the indie underground version of it. Great at rap and I'm good with numbers. Trap is something you shouldn't fuck with. Cap is something like a polar bear who could breathe fire deep in the jungle. One of a kind, can't fuck with him. If you try to do it, bitch, you in trouble. Not to mention big trap coming, swinging through with 100 apes, moving quick and they all hungry. Somebody better pray for buddy. He don't know who he done fucked with. He don't know who we got coming. Underdogs, bitch, we the subject. We the topic of discussion, that ain't no question. Boy, that's my dog, better not touch him. We gon' have a problem, we gon' get to fussing. It ain't no talking, nigga, just busting. Banana clips, coconut bullets, going straight through them like hot butter. No, I'm not bluffing. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. Lions and gorillas, snakes and alligators, predators and killers. Don't you end up stuck here with us. Only way you make it is if the Lord with you. You gon' have to hunt. You gon' have to kill. You gon' have to do some things that you ain't never did. A lot of different type of shit just to make it out of here. Can you survive? Welcome to the jungle.
You want to do a lot. type of shit to make it through, to make it out of here. Jungle, it get rough, it get tough. You gon' have to hunt and kill, you gon' have to hunt and kill. You gon' have to do some things you never had to do before to make it out the jungle. Welcome to the jungle.
Oops. Sorry about that, MadWack. That was
Hey,
fire.
thank you.
That was super
So I
fire.
saw someone in the comments ask, that was my guy Trapper. So when I was talking earlier about a whole plan we had, he was the one that was supposed to be a part of it. He had to deal with some life shit that came up unexpectedly and just kind of took him out. He good, don't get me wrong, he good now. But at the time, it was just something, and it kind of put everything on hold, and then kind of led to him, for lack of a better term, falling off. It's all love. Don't get it wrong. I mean, everything happens for a reason. But the big plan was him and I were gonna be a group. We are gonna go by Flow CD. We had this whole setup, name, and everything, and label thing set up. And Sticks being our main producer, we were already in the works of putting out a mixtape and all that. We had actually a couple tracks done for it. That being the lead single, that being the main one. But I actually still wanted to include that because I really, that song really came out really well. I actually drove down to Virginia. I was up in Jersey visiting family, and I drove down to Virginia where he stayed at, and we did that whole video in pretty much a day. We actually drove out. He bought a video camera because he didn't have one. He found one on Facebook Marketplace. We drove out, picked up the camera. The place we bought the camera at, where he picked it up from the dude, there was that building that you see in the video in the front that looked like an old like library or even like courthouse type setup with the big columns and the broken stairs and something. Like, yo, this is perfect. And he was driving, he even noticed. I'm like, yo, did you see that building? He's like, what building? We went back around the corner. He's like, yo, done. But we didn't even know how we were gonna do it or where we were gonna do it. We were just gonna kind of feel it out, and it was like fate. Like everything just fell into place. But yeah, I recently chopped it up with him, kind of caught up in this and that, but I hadn't talked to him for about a year and a half with everything that happened. But like I said, it's all love. He a real talented dude. I don't think he's actually in the moment where he's in the right headspace to create music, but I have a feeling he'll be back sooner rather than later. So we'll see what happens.
Heck yeah. That is awesome. So, more questions. I am pulling them real quick. 1 second.
Yeah, Saving Tooth, man. His, and I think you'll learn this. Most artists probably hate their own voice. I know I do. But his, like, other artists hearing other artists' voice always start like Cam's voice, Trapper's voice, dope as dope can be. Like his delivery, his vocal tone, like it fits so perfect for him and his style. Like that's to me like his best trait. Not to say his other traits aren't great, but like his, just the way, some rappers you hear them and you're like, they don't match, like it doesn't go together, it doesn't fit. Like Cam's voice is top notch. Like he dope as hell. Appreciate that, man. I will.
Yeah. Are there things within the music industry and the music scene that you have learned and come to dislike?
Talent doesn't matter. That's always been my biggest beef, my biggest complaint. Like when I was hitting it hard back in the day, pause, I guess that sounded really funny the way I said it, but when I was after it, I had some private showcases and things that I did, not a humble brag moment, just facts. And I had sat down with like executives and stuff, and they were always like, "You got real dope music, man. You're real lyrical. Your bar content is real heavy. You're good energy. You need more of a fan base. You need more of a following. You need to show you can sell more." And I understood it, don't get me wrong, because that is the business aspect of it, and that's how they're looking at it. But at the end of the day, it's like, if I can go out and already prove that I could sell and all that, what do I need you for? Point blank. Like, I thought that's the whole point of the label. And I know it's changed, but initially it was like to get your music to the people that you can't get it to market you in a way that, you know, people can be exposed to you more. So
Right.
that's the one thing. And even now, I mean, the labels are kind of dead. And the whole streaming thing is, being real, it's a joke. I mean, I hate, we're on it, we're using it, but I hate social media. I ain't gonna lie. It's not what social media is intended for that I hate. It's what it is that I hate. It's a bunch of people, you know, in your DMs talking about like my shit, love my shit, repost my shit, share my shit, but don't do it back necessarily, or only do it back if you do it for them type shit. And it's everybody's like, what have you done for me lately? Come and go. I need something. Can't find. Like, it's tough. And you go in there and you end up, you don't even realize it. You just wasted like 2 hours just scrolling through shit, and you're just like, what the fuck did I even watch or you look at or do? Like, how the fuck is it? Like, it was 4 o'clock, now it's 6 o'clock. Like, what the fuck just happened? So
Right.
I hate that. And I understand the value of it, and I understand how it can be important, and it's a definite tool. It's a definite advantage. But I mean, the internet has made so many more artists, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're all great. And I'm not one to judge, so I don't want that to come off like pompous or anything like that. But you know, it's a whole facade. It's a whole persona of what's real and what isn't. You know, it's like everything now you have to sit there and watch it and wonder, like, did it really happen? Or was it just me?
Right. What's up, dude? No, 100%. Another thing I've noticed with social media is that, you know, you have so many people on such and such platforms, but then you've got these select few people that follow you, don't engage with any of your stuff, don't talk to you, they're not your friend, and they kind of just exist there for no reason. Does, like, I understand, you know, you want to build a following and stuff, but what's the point on having followers if they don't engage with anything that you do, you know?
Facts. Like, to me, like, people, like, there's people that have like 10,000 followers, right? And they'll get
Right.
like 30 likes when they make something, maybe 10 comments. And then if you look at the comments, it's like fire emojis. And that's cool, don't get me wrong, because sometimes, like, that's what you put. Like, that shit is fire. You put a fire emoji. But,
Right.
like, oh, here's like 3 fire emojis and a like. Next. It's like, you even listen probably. You just saw, like, oh, that's Cap. I know Cap. Like, boom. And it's cool because at the same time, it's at least better than no engagement. But is false engagement or fake engagement better than no engagement? It's like the follow for follow game, right? Like,
Right.
I understand building it up, but I don't want followers for the sake of numbers. Like, I'm not trying to build a bank account of followers. I'm trying to get people that connect and vibe, because that's going to inspire me to create more. That's going to give me more ideas. It's going to give me more feedback, help me mold into a better person, a better artist. So I want people that are going to interact. I want people that are going to chop it up. I want to be in your DMs like, hey, what's good? How's the kids? How's the wife? How's life? How's work? I want to know you. I don't want to just know whatever. That's why I like Facebook in a way, because it's like, most people, it's your real name. Like Instagram, it's your wrestling name or your persona name, like your stage.
Yeah.
And that's cool, and I get it. But like Facebook, even some of the people here that have been like chiming in and commenting, I'm like, who the fuck? Oh, I know who that is. Like, I gotta connect it to what their other name is and tie it together. Like, okay, you know. So it's like you get more, I guess, relatable or of a connection with people.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Facebook is good for that, as well as building engagement for platforms and stuff. Like, you can make groups and banter within groups and stuff like that.
Yeah, 1,000%.
It's
Speaking of
definitely a
social
sticky
platforms,
place.
what platforms do you use? Oh,
I tend to be more on
sorry.
Instagram, as I have
What did
just
you say,
said that.
MadWack?
I tend to be more. Oh. Go ahead, MadWack. You had something to say.
No, I was just,
Oh, you
I
good?
think she was taking the words out of my mouth. Go ahead and drop your social handles and all that stuff. Let them know where they
Oh,
can
cool,
find
cool.
you, your YouTube, and if they vary.
Yeah, I tend to be on Instagram more. With that being said, I know it's kind of contradiction of what I just said about Facebook, but I'm getting into the Facebook game more and more. I'm still trying to learn it, but Instagram's been more where I've been involved at, because on Instagram there's a lot of like platforms where you can, like, they'll post beats and then you just kind of, everybody does a verse, and it's real political. Don't get me wrong. I don't do it to win, or I do it more to just express, because it can be, create thoughts or ideas just when you hear different shit and different people.
Of
So I tend to
course.
use it more for that. But I'm pretty much on TikTok is the one that I probably need to get more involved on too. But I always feel like numbers are just kind of ballooned and not accurate.
Yes.
So I like TikTok. I'll tell you, like, this person checked out your stuff, and then you click on their name to see who they are or something, and it's blocked or private or whatever, and this and that, and it's just like, well, that was pointless. What was the point of telling me that shit? But
Right.
but no, yeah, I like Instagram. Like I said, I like Instagram a lot because I feel like it's quicker, to kind of just go in there and catch up on things. With Facebook, yes, it's nice. You can do different groups, and you can do fan pages, and you can do, like the word postings as opposed to picture postings all the time and things of that nature. But it takes a little more time to kind of scroll through. And then, of course, they have so many fucking ads now flooded in, from people trying to sell you shit, from suggested profiles to check out, and then from just other shit in there. It's like, out of every like 5 things you see, like 3 of them are strangers or, some kind of commercial propaganda shit. So not that Instagram is that different, but I just feel like when Instagram, it's just easier, like, just scroll, picture move, picture move, picture move, picture move, So
Absolutely.
So I have a question
I
that
get
is
it.
sort of on topic.
Thank you.
How do you play offense against your haters?
Say that one more time. How
do you play offense against your haters?
The funny thing about having haters is there's 2 types of haters, right? There's the hater that won't even give you the time of day, just like, nah, he's trash. Like, well, did you listen? No, I don't need to listen. He's trash. That type of hater, right? And then there's the other hater that listens and then goes out of your way to, like, kind of troll you or kind of do extra, where it's like, you're not really necessarily hating because you obviously have a reason to be here. Otherwise, you would just be like, oh, it's trash, and move on, right? So to me, you can't have fans without hate. Like, you need that balance. You can't love what you can't, like, even hating people, right? Traditionally, like, even in the essence of the word, you don't really hate people. You might strongly dislike people or not want anything good to happen for people, but to really hate somebody, it's typically somebody who was close to you, somebody that you basically loved, and you don't even hate them. You hate the fact that you used to love them, right? And they did this to you. They hurt you, or they fell off from you, or whatever it is, right? So let's say some shit goes down and it's like, oh, well, I don't talk to Acid no more, this and that. Like, I'm not going to hate you because I have no reason to hate you unless you go out of your way to really try to, like, throw salt on the game type shit. So unless you're taking it to that level, there's no reason for me to take it to that level, right? But those people you do truly hate is usually somebody that was closer to you, somebody that's like, man, I never thought this dude would do this to me. And you don't necessarily hate that person. You hate what became of that relationship, right? So I actually like having haters. I think it's a blessing because if people are hating, that means they're at least giving it a shot to listen to it or giving me that time of day to have their attention, right? So
Absolutely.
again, that comes back to, like, looking at things from a different angle. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want you to hate, and I don't appreciate the hate, so to speak. But at the same time, I appreciate the attention and efforts that you're giving into hating on me to make me that important, that I matter, for you to give me time of day in your mind.
Oh yeah, I feel that.
Heck yeah. So to wrap up some of these questions, I do want to know, do you have any plans to come back on this show and do a recap in like 3 or 4 months?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm always open to whatever. I mean, shit, I love chopping it up. If you can't tell, I love having good conversations, like real type conversations, not like the generic, like, oh, your music is awesome. What else do you do? What else do you create? What is it like? like really getting to know what's behind the artist. Like VH1 used to do that behind the artist profile and give you like that background, or you watch like one of those documentaries and you really get to know like how did this person become this artist? What did he
Yeah.
go through? What did he experience? Like to me, that's where you really relate, and that's where you have a better understanding of. Maybe I don't necessarily agree with this song or like this song that much, but I now appreciate what he put into making it and how he came about it and what he went through that he's telling us about more so than maybe I like the song itself. That's how you connect. So,
Oh,
I mean,
heck yeah.
I'll come back on anytime. I mean, y'all have showed me nothing but love. Y'all giving me promo and helping me out. I mean, trying my best to reciprocate that every chance I can. And I mean, shit, y'all need anything, let me know. I don't smoke, I don't drink, so I can't do that video of that type of shit.
Hey,
I
it's
got something I'm
okay.
gonna do. No, yeah, I got something I'm gonna do for y'all though to try to show some love. And then I already told you about something I was thinking too. I got my producer working on something for it. I don't want to
Oh,
spoil
heck
it,
yeah.
but yeah, I got some stuff planned. I mean, like I said, it's all love from my side always. Like that's how I am. That's how I was raised. Like when people do nice things for you, you make sure you notice it because it doesn't happen a lot. Like I told you, growing up, what we went through, and everybody kind of disowning us. Like you appreciate the people that help you out, and that's why it's hard for me to hate somebody because it's like, you know what? What do I hate? That I expected them to do more? That's on me.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
That'd be awesome to have you come back on. You could tell us more about who you are. You know what I mean? We could go in depth and do a recap, and you could
absolutely.
kind of tell us, like you said, behind the artist. That'd be awesome to have you come back on. And, you know, new music. If you have any new music by then, we can play some of that too. And don't forget, you can always send it to our email, and we will play it on our rotation days as well.
No, much appreciated. I always got stuff I'm working on. So
Absolutely. And it's all love from the Happy Days team. Like I'm sure you'll see that, all the co-hosts engage as much as we can with everybody's stuff. We love to see the creativity and people who do music because it's music, not because, oh, I want to be famous and a millionaire one day. You know what I mean?
facts. Yeah, I mean that's a nice perk. Don't get me wrong, but if you're doing it for strictly that, chances are it ain't gonna work.
It's not, because you don't put no love or soul into it. And that's where music is important, is when the soul's into it.
It's like Jadakiss said: as soon as you start chasing the money, that's when the money starts running.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And with that, if you want to give some shout outs to anybody, go ahead and give shout outs. We got like 3 minutes left before we are ending our show.
Man, shout out to Sticks Made It Veresmo. Shout out to RC. I saw you checking in on there. Super big shout out my guy Elo. I mean, shout out to you, Acid, you MadWack, Cryptic behind the scenes doing what she doing. Ty, I know you one of the hosts checking in, giving us some good comments and questions in there. Saving Tooth, Sunray, a couple other y'all in the comment. My apologies. I don't have the ability to scroll right now. But man, anybody and everybody listening, thank you. Sincerely, thank you. And I hope down the road we can talk more and relate more, even if it's just DMs or whatever. I'm always down for good conversations, good experiences, and to be honest, stuff like that is what helps us as artists, like just see things a little different, maybe, and create. And on that note, open to any and all collaborations. I don't care what you think your talent level or experience is at. Like I'm not that type of person. I don't charge for features. I mean, to each their own. I don't knock anybody who does. I don't think you should because you bring in as much art to the table as I am. So let's create together. Let's inspire each other. Let's work together. Whether it's cross genre, whether it's the same, whatever, whether it's concepts, it might not be every song is going to be a hit, but it'll matter to us. It's like
Absolutely.
when you look at your love, right? Like to me, my wife is the most beautiful woman in the world. Would I blindly lie and tell you she's the most attractive woman in the world? No, I'm not an idiot. But to me, what I see and what I experience and what I know about her and what's inside her is what makes her, to me, the most beautiful woman in the world. So let's do that together as artists. Let's build together. It doesn't have to necessarily be something everybody and their mother loves or is a radio hit. Let's just make some art. Let's just create. You never know. Might get lucky, might
Hell
not.
fucking yeah. Fuck yeah. What about you,
Expect to
MadWack?
see
Shout
everyone
outs for today?
making music with this guy soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm in my studio right now. I built my own studio in my house.
Heck
Just
yeah.
so I can have that ability to whenever I need to. I was sick of waiting on other people. Not a knock on anybody. It's just me. And when you an artist and you write some shit and you're in a mood to spit it and you gotta wait like 3 days to spit it and then you go, it's not the same.
It's
You
not.
you might not be in that same mindset. I might write some anger shit because I'm in that mood, and then by the time I go to spit it, I'm all happy again. And it's like it's not gonna come out. Pause.
Right.
So I took that luxury where I could be able to do stuff like that, so I can really capture the moment. Pun intended.
Absolutely. Shout out Gio, shout out Christina for tuning in, shout out Ben, shout out Ted Chris for tuning in, shout out Saber, all the Happy crew. We love the Happy crew. I love you guys. Shout out Cap ThaWiseGuy for being a guest on our show, and shout out MadWack for being an awesome host today with me.
Oh yeah, shout out both of you guys right back, especially you, Happy, for giving up this badass platform for us to, be able to share all this love.
And don't forget Happy's cousin for hosting, for giving her the spot today. So appreciate that.
Yes. Shout out Ivan. Thanks.
Ivan.
All right. And with that, I think we are done. Audience, I love you guys. We cannot do this without you guys watching us and supporting us. Don't forget that you can always send your music and your interview applications in, and we're always collecting new material to have for our show. Don't be afraid to hit us up for some promotion. Even if you don't do music, you do tattoos, you have your own little business, you're some sort of entrepreneur, you produce beats, any type of artist, no matter what you do, hit us up and we will get you some sort of promotion with us, no matter what it is. And with that, peace.
One sec.
Oh, okay, let's go.
Yep. Cap, I want you to remind everyone one more time, if you would, about your show tonight, so anyone in that area watching can go hit that up.
Yeah, it's gonna be Diamond Ultra Lounge. Show starts at 10 tonight, San Antonio, Evers Road. Come out, show some love and support. If y'all see me there, come up and talk to me, man. I guarantee we'll have a good conversation.
Heck yeah. 10 p.m., right?
Yes,
Central
ma'am.
time.
10 till whenever the fuck it ends. You know how it go. There'll be a lot of dope talent in the building too. It ain't just me. So you'll definitely hear someone you like, even if I ain't the one.
Heck yeah. It's gonna be awesome. If you get any clips or anything from that, send it to us. We'll, put it on our page and give you some more promo.
Absolutely.
And heck yeah. You'll get it. It'll be all good. And you're gonna have a good show tonight, right?
Of course.
All right. That's what I like to hear. Shout out to our tech behind the scenes. And with that, we're out. Peace.